Tim was 7 years old and loved the forest behind his house. Every afternoon he slipped into his green raincoat, tied his red rubber boots and walked the narrow path between the ancient trees. The leaves rustled, and the air smelled of damp earth and fresh mushrooms. On a special autumn day, Tim discovered something he had never seen before. Between two gnarled oak trees lay a huge, moss-covered stone. But this stone was different. It glowed ever so gently, in a warm golden tone, as if a firefly were sleeping deep inside it. Tim knelt down and placed his hand on the stone. It was warm. Warm and soft, almost like a sleeping animal. And then, very quietly, Tim heard something. A tiny purring. A gentle breathing. Someone was sleeping in there. Or beneath it. A voice, as old as the roots of the oaks, whispered from the moss, "Who are you? I have been sleeping for so long." Tim held his breath. Then he whispered back, "I'm Tim." "And who are you?" "I am Moosel, the forest spirit of this clearing. But I am so tired." The little forest spirit told Tim his story. He had gone to sleep 100 years ago because the people had stopped singing in the forest. And he could only wake up if a child whistled the old forest song, the song that only children know in their hearts. "But," whispered Moosel, "the first autumn storm comes tonight. Then all the leaves will fly away, and I will sleep forever." Tim thought carefully. A song. A song that only children know. He closed his eyes. He thought of the forest. Of the mushrooms. Of the spider webs full of morning dew. Of the smell of rain. And then all by itself a melody rose from his heart. Tim pursed his lips and whistled. At first, nothing happened. Then the stone began to glow brighter, brighter, ever brighter. The mossy cushions trembled. The leaves danced upward. And from the stone, yawning and stretching, crawled a small, round, fluffy creature. Moosel was awake. Moosel was no bigger than Tim's shoe. He had little round ears, a nose like a hazelnut, and eyes that glowed like two tiny lanterns. He looked at Tim. Tim looked at him. Then Moosel gave a little bow. "Thank you, Tim," he said. "You have brought the forest song back to me." When evening came and the wind blew through the trees, it was no longer a wild storm. It was only a gentle sigh, as if the forest were taking a deep breath. The leaves danced, but they did not fly away. They swirled and twirled and settled quietly on the forest floor. Moosel had calmed the storm. From that day on, Moosel was Tim's best friend. Every afternoon, when Tim walked into the forest in his green raincoat, a small golden glow would be waiting for him. And sometimes, when the wind was very still, you could hear them whistling together, a boy and a forest spirit, and the ancient song of the forest that should never be forgotten. The end.